Hey guys, Josiah here with Aesthetyx Fitness. On today's video, I'm going to be going over how to track your macros and my personal favorite app for doing that. Alright, so first up, what are macros or macronutrients? Basically, in simple terms, it's just the categories of nutrients that make up the calories that you consume every day. In this case, that is fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. So basically, you have three categories of macros, and those are what you're going to be tracking throughout the day, which is going to allow you to know both how many total calories you're consuming and how many of those calories are coming from what sort of nutrient source. So for instance, 3,000 calories of protein is going to be a lot different for you health and body composition wise than 3,000 calories of fats. Now, a lot of people are going to think, well, wait, it's hard enough just to track my calories, and now you want me to split that into three different categories and track all of that for every food I eat? It's actually really simple, especially if you have an app to help you do it, which I'll go over with you later on in the video. Alright, so that being said, how do you actually go about tracking the macronutrients of what you're eating? There are a couple different methods you can use depending on what kind of food item it is. If it's an item you just buy at the store pre-packaged, like a protein bar or a bag of rice that's a specific size, or single serving TV dinners, things like that, all of those are going to come pre-packaged and they'll actually have the nutritional information for the entire package directly on the outside of the box. You just flip it over, enter in the fat, the carbohydrates, and the protein, and there's the macronutrients for what you just ate. Okay, but what about whole foods, things like fruits and vegetables, the really healthy stuff that doesn't come in pre-packaged little containers? Well, in that case, you can either just eyeball it, for instance, holding up a medium-sized apple and Googling medium-sized apple nutrition, and believe it or not, Google will spit back out at you exactly the nutrient ratios of what are in that apple. Or if you have a food scale, you can simply place your apple on the food scale, weigh it, find out how many grams that apple weighs, and then find out how many calories and what macronutrient ratios are in a gram of apple, and multiply that by the total number of grams in your apple. It sounds a little mathy, but it's actually really easy and only takes a couple seconds. Okay, but what about restaurants? You're going out to eat with some friends and you're eating restaurant food. It's served to you already on a plate, a full combination of different items, and you can't weigh it, obviously, and it doesn't come in a package with nutrition information on the outside. That's where Google is your friend. Almost every restaurant you're going to go to, especially any that has more than 3 or 4 locations, so everything but like mom and pop shop locally owned restaurants, most of them actually post their nutrition online. You can find their entire menu on Google, page through it, and find out what each menu item has. So all you have to do is just break out your smartphone, and I recommend doing this before you actually go out to dinner if you already know what you're going to want to order. That way it's a little less conspicuous, and you can just pull it up on Google, enter in the nutritional information for the dish you want to try, and bingo, there you go. It's already in the app and you're good to eat that during dinner. And also doing it ahead of time helps kind of portion control you, where you go, okay, this is what I already committed to getting, this is what I'm going to get, and I'm not going to get anything else because I already tracked the nutrition for this menu item. So if you are trying to diet down, if you're in a cutting phase or anything like that, it really does actually help psychologically cause you to kind of portion yourself a little bit more when you're going out to eat. And now you guys know the basics of counting your macronutrients. Of course, there is a little more that goes into it with what exact ratios of macronutrients you're going to want in your diet depending on your overall physique goals, and we'll cover that in another video. But for right now, I want to show you guys my personal favorite app that I use every day to input my macronutrient information. I find it really easy to use. It's called Simple Macro, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. All right, so here is the app. It's called Simple Macro, as you can see. I've got it pulled up on my phone here, and I'm just going to show you guys really quick basically how to use it to track your macros. And Simple Macro is not a sponsor of this video in any way. I'm not getting paid to show this to you guys. This is just the app I happen to use. I like it a lot. I'll tell you about the pros and cons after I show you guys how to use it. So basically, my daily calories that I'm going for right now are just over 3,000, about 3,000 to 3,100. And of those calories, I have that split up into approximately 95 grams of fat per day, 370 grams of carbs, and 185 grams of protein. And if you look, it'll show me what the goal amount of calories are for the day, and what percent of everything will be gained from each macronutrient throughout the day. And that's really important if you're trying to segment a specific macronutrient to only take up a certain percentage of your total daily caloric intake. So what you do from there is you're going to go into the add screen, and here's where, like we talked about earlier, you will put in the fats, carbs, and protein for foods you're eating. So just for example, I have a Optimum Nutrition Protein Cake Bites here. These are absolutely delicious. Again, not a sponsor, but just the closest fitness food I had on hand to use as an example. And as you see, they've got 7 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of protein. So we're just going to go into the screen here, add in 7 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of protein. And the serving size really doesn't matter, it just wants a total number of grams for the servings. But if we want to be really picky, we can go off of the serving size listed on the package, which in this case is 62 grams. So we'll go into the app, hit the serving size button, enter in 62 grams, hit OK, and then we enter in the name for our new entry. We can just call it protein for now. And with that, we then just hit add entry by serving, and this is just asking how many servings we're having. So let's say we just had 1 package of protein cake bites. I'm going to say servings 1, hit OK. Now if we go back to our macros, we can see that we've had 7 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of protein. And it will now show me exactly what % of my different macronutrient ratios are coming from the different macronutrients versus what my goals are. So as you go throughout the day, it's really easy to just track them and see exactly how your actual intake is stacking up next to your goals. So things I like about this app. If you have a favorite item that you tend to eat a lot, like let's say you have a whole package of these protein cake bites, you can simply go down and add it to your favorites using that heart button. It'll give you a name to save it under, and you can save it to your favorites that way. That way you can search through your favorites, find it later, and add it back in without having to re-enter all the information each time. So I really love that feature. I also enjoy the fact that it's so visually simple. It's really easy to read and understand. And also you can change your macronutrient components throughout the day. So let's say I want to change my goal and say, you know what, I did an extra hard workout today. I burnt more calories and I'm bulking right now. So I'm going to want to up my intake a little bit. So I up my fat to 100, up my carbs to 380, and my protein to 190. And then hit OK, and then set goals. As you can see, it automatically updates, keeps all the information I put in there, but just changes the goals that I'll be going for. So that's a really great feature. I really like that, that you can kind of change it on the go, add or remove variables as you want. All right, now fair balance, there are 2 things about this app that I'm not 100% thrilled about. The first is that when you're searching through your favorites list, it will search by first letter and first word only. So basically, let's say you buy some pulled pork and enter it in as barbecue pulled pork, and then later you try to find it in your favorites and you just search pulled pork, it's not going to come up because it's going to be specifically searching for barbecue pulled pork. And so it doesn't do keyword searches. You need to enter in starting with the first letter and onwards with the phrase. The second thing is something I just learned recently when I got a new phone, and that is that as far as I'm aware, there's no way to basically port your old favorites list from an old device to a new device. If let's say you've built up 2 or 3 years worth of favorite menu items on that list, and now you get a new phone, even if you copy the app over, your favorites kind of disappear and you got to start over from scratch. So that was a really big pain when I got a new phone. So that's something just to be aware of if you're a person who's like always getting the new iPhone when it comes out every year. This might not be the best app to get for you. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like down below, and of course subscribe to this channel because I've got new videos coming out all the time. And of course leave a comment down below letting me know what questions you may have or topics you'd like me to cover in future videos so that I can help you train smarter and look better.